Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning to all the participants and viewers. Good morning. So currently there are so many participants have joined with us in this conference today. It's almost 100 participants, and I would like to sudah bergabung juga bersama kita Bapak Agus Setiawan. Good morning, Bapak Agus.
Good morning, Ibu Erita.
Yeah, good morning. How are you, Pak Agus?
I'm fine, thanks.
Yeah, how's Bandung?
Bandung now is quite good today.
How about the temperature there? Is that rainy season or?
Yeah, because I live in the north part of Bandung. Is quite good weather today.
Oh, quite good weather today. Okay, thanks God.
Assalamualaikum Pak Agus.
Waalaikumsalam Pak Dekan.
Sehat ya Pak.
Alhamdulillah.
Boleh pakai talking bahasa Indonesia dulu lah ya Pak Dekan ya, karena belum bergabung semua keynote.
Ya, kita
ya silakan Pak Dekan.
Ya, Pak Rektor ya. Oke, baik. Pak Agus sekarang masih di Bandung?
Di Bandung Pak, tapi hari ini lagi keluar kota, ada acara.
Oh gitu, ada kegiatan khusus?
Ada ini acara keluarga, sambil acara keluarga.
Oh iyalah, ya.
Ada paman yang menikahkan putranya.
Oke lah. Selamat Pak Agus, kirim salam untuk keluarga.
Ya. Terima kasih Pak Dekan.
Kita harapkan pagi ini Pak Rektor bisa bergabung, Pak Agus.
Mudah-mudahan, ya. Berapa minggu lalu ya saya di Zoom meeting dengan beliau di kegiatan PPG.
Ah ya. PPG di UNP juga sedang jalan ini.
Jalan ya.
Untuk beberapa prodi di bahasa, di teknik juga. Nah, ini karena situasi pandemi ini memang pada umumnya kegiatan itu pakai Zoom meeting.
Betul ya. Bulan terakhir ini kelihatannya mulai banyak tuh kegiatan kementerian yang offline.
Iya betul. Kemarin juga dengan Pak Nizam juga ada kegiatan kita Pak Agus. Ya. Ini mengenai hibah vokasi. Karena ada beberapa prodi di UMP yang sedang melaksanakan kegiatan itu. Ini untuk penguatan prodi ya. Terutama yang vokasi, yang diploma ini.
Yang di bawah Pak Wikan ya?
Nah, Pak Wikan juga ya. Kalau di UPI gimana Pak Agus? Vokasinya?
Ya, kita ini sedang ada ini Pak, EDV project. Kebetulan topiknya TVET gitu.
Ya. Ini kan kalau UPI sudah chapter 2 itu ya Pak Agus ya?
Ya, kalau pembangunan baru demolis ya mungkin awal tahun depan mulai pembangunan.
Ya.
Di antaranya itu kita buka cukup banyak prodi baru yang merespon kebutuhan guru TVET yang susah lah, logistik misalnya.
Ini yang prodi baru yang sedang tren lah ya Pak Agus. Kalau di UMP itu kuliner ada, kemudian pariwisata. Yang sedang digalakkan itu kuliner rendang Padang ini Pak. Kita punya
bagus itu.
Iya betul.
Bagus itu.
Salah satu keunggulan berbasis budaya daerah ini.
Iya betul.
Pak Dekan?
Iya.
Kita menunggu Pak Rektor dulu bergabung baru nanti acaranya dimulai Pak.
Oh ya. Oke.
Oke.
Silakan.
Baik, Pak.
Ini juga sedang berlangsung webinar EPP yang terkait dengan
penjaminan mutu.
Iya, penjaminan mutu ya.
Ya.
Ini sedang ada 2 fakultas teknik dan MIPA ini sedang bergabung nih, Pak Agus. Sudah hari kedua sekarang. Kemarin juga kita punya narasumber dari IPB juga, Pak Woni.
Assalamualaikum Pak Agus.
Waalaikumsalam Pak Rektor.
Waalaikumsalam Pak Rektor.
Sehat Pak Rektor.
Bu Rita.
Iya, selamat pagi Pak Rektor. Gimana kabarnya Pak? Sehat? Alhamdulillah. Iya Pak.
Iya Pak Agus.
Alhamdulillah Prof.
Oke, kita mulai aja Bu Erita.
Ya, boleh Pak. Pak Rektor, mohon maaf Erita mau menanyakan ini terlebih dahulu. Nanti kan Bapak jadi keynote speaker yang pertama untuk present ya Pak ya. Bapak kira-kira bakal stay sampai akhir acara atau kemungkinan Bapak ada agenda lain, jadi Bapak mau leave duluan?
Saya nanti duluan. Jadi setelah saya ini, setelah presentasi saya sebentar aja, paling 15 menit.
Oke Pak. Oke, kalau untuk memastikan saja Pak, kalau begitu, ya. Untuk diinfokan ke partisipan.
Ya, setelah live dulu, nanti gabung lagi.
Oh ya, oke Pak, baik Pak. Kita mulai saja ya Pak ya. Ya, soalnya ada beberapa keynote yang lain kemungkinan besar bergabung nanti seperti Mr. Christopher, kemudian Mr. T, kebetulan beliau juga ada agenda yang lain kemungkinan nanti bergabung di sesi presentasi beliau. Jadi kita mulai saja ya Pak ya untuk pembukaan. Oke Bapak. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
wabarakatuh.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are delighted to welcome you to the virtual meeting of 7 International Conference on Technical and Vocational Education and Training, ICTVET 2020. This conference is organized by Faculty of Engineering Universitas Negeri Padang. My name is Erita Astrid, and I will be your moderator for the conference today. The Honorable Rector of Universitas Negeri Padang, Professor Ganefri, PhD, the Honorable, the Dean of Faculty of Engineering Universitas Negeri Padang, Dr. Fahmi Rizal, MT, MPD, the Honorable, the Chairman of 7 International Conference on Technical and Vocational Education and Training 2020, Dr. Mukhlidi Muskir, the Honorable, all keynote speakers, Mr. Christopher Zickley, PhD from Ohio State University, United States, Dr. Eng Agus Setiawan, MSI from Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia, Dr. Cekyong from University Tan Hussein on Malaysia, and Dr. Asnul Dahar bin Mik'at from University Technology Malaysia. And the Honorable, all presenters and participants of 7 ICTVET 2020. Well, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's start our conference today by listening to Indonesia National Anthem, Indonesia Raya. To all participants and viewers, please stand up. gentlemen, you may have a seat. The next agenda is welcoming speech from the chairman of 7 International Conference on Technical and Vocational Education and Training 2020, Mr. Dr. Mukhlidi Muskir. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to Mr. Mukhlidi Muskir.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirrabbilalamin. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wa asyhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Honorable Rector Universitas Negeri Padang, Profesor Ganefri PhD. The Honorable Dean Faculty of Engineering, Universitas Negeri Padang, Dr. Fahmi Rizal, MPD, MT. The Honorable Keynote Speakers, excellent member of the ICT Fed community and participants. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, let me express my gratitude to the God for His grace that we can gather in the good condition today in virtual meeting of 7th International Conference on Technical and Vocational Education and Training ICT-VET. It is a great pleasure for me to welcome to the keynote speakers and participants from all over the world who have participated in this conference to exchange their experience, work, and research results related to the field of the vocational education and training. As an information, the ICT community has organized this conference each year since 2014 on behalf of Faculty of Engineering, Universitas Negeri Padang. Every year, we have themes for this conference ranging with the difficult aspect in vocational education. We're glad that this year we are still able to conduct this conference with bringing the themes is about vocational education and technology in Millennium Era. Even though it is a talking pledge in digital platform of singly different corporates compared to the previous series due to the COVID-19. We encourage our participants, we stay safe and maintain social distance, as a result of which this conference will be the first of many conferences in the future that will be conducted remotely without the use of the advanced technologies. As well as now that in the Millennium Era, the vocational education and training is widely accepted as a powerful and effective method of the helping to bridge the gap between education and the world of work, as well as between school and society. In this conference, the invited speaker will talk more deeply about this. Therefore, for today's conference, we have invited 5 great speakers who are very expert and have more experience in the field of the vocational education. The work and contribution in this field have been provided by many people publishing under their name. They will be staying with us by sharing the thoughts, knowledge, and opinion with the rest of us. Furthermore, we also surprised by looking the enthusiasm from participants by sending the paper and attend his conference to present their work. We really appreciate it. The major outcome that we expect the major cost outcome that we expect of this conference is a national and international conference framework for the change education system around the world and how it can be inclined with new concept in millennium era. Finally, I would like to thank all the community members for organizing this conference, and I hope it will be run smoothly. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Mr. Muklidi Muskir, for your welcoming speech. And now, we would like to invite Professor Ganefri, PhD, Director of Universitas Negeri Padang, to deliver few words as opening speech. Please welcome Professor Ganefri, PhD.
Thank you, Rita. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Good morning, everyone. Honorable Vice Rector Universitas Negeri Padang, Honorable Dean of all faculties in Universitas Negeri Padang, especially Honorable Dean Faculty of Engineering, Mr. Dr. Fahmi Rizal, Honorable Chairman of 7th ICT Fed 2020, Honorable Keynote Speakers, the first Dr. Ing Agustiawan MSc from UPI, my close friend, sahabat kami.
Thank you.
Second, Dr. Asnul Dahar bin Mikhat from UTM, Malaysia. Third, Dr. TZ Kiong from UTXM, Malaysia. And Christopher Zickley, PhD from Ohio State University, USA. Honorable speaker and participants, ladies and gentlemen, in this precious moment, let us please express our gratitude to the merciful God who has granted us with blessing and grace that we could gather here today to attend the 7th International Conference on Technical and Vocational Education and Training, or ICT Fed 2020. Second, let us greet and pray to our beloved Prophet Muhammad SAW, who had brought us to the path of light and left the darkness in this life. Let me attend my warmest greetings and welcome to our distinguished speakers and participants, particularly those from abroad, even though we just met via virtual, but felt like we gathered in the same room. Ladies and gentlemen, this international conference is an example of UNP commitment to continuously improve its external capacity, that to extend the cooperation network to related parties in local, regional, national, and international levels. We believe that from this conference, all participants will have time to discuss and exchange ideas, findings, creating new networking, as well as strengthen the existing collaboration in the respective fields of expertise. I hope this conference will be productive. It will create a new impetus for education and scientific research. And more importantly, I sincerely hope that this auspicious occasion will be a stepping stone for further relationship and realization of our program. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of University Padang, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to Faculty of Engineering who have organized this event. This is a great opportunity for us to be involved in an international community. I would like also to extend my appreciation and gratitude to keynote and plenary speaker, participants of this conference, for their contribution to this event. I would also like to express my gratefulness to all sponsors that I cannot mention one by one for the support given to the committee. My appreciation and congratulations also goes to the committee that has made this program possible and success of conducting this international conference. I will all the participants a productive discussion. Throughout the conference, let's pray together that this coronavirus pandemic will soon disappear from all of us. Finally, on behalf of University Padang, I officially open the 7th International Conference on Technical and Vocational Education and Training 2020. Thank you.
Maaf Bu Arita, suaranya belum keluar.
Thank you, Mr. Ganefri, for gracing us with your present. As mentioned previously by Mr. Mukhlidimus here that the 7th of ICTFET 2020 is an annual academic event provided by Universitas Negeri Padang. The conference becomes a wonderful forum for researchers, scientists, and academicians to present and share their latest research work and result in the field of vocational education and training. The forum allows the amazing people to discuss their most recent, creative, innovative, and cutting-edge works with all participants here. And this year, we bring the topic about the vocational education and technology in Millennium Era, with the 5 great keynote speakers will deliver their idea and works related to this topic. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, before we get started to the keynote session, let me greet all the invited speakers who have participated with us today in this morning. Good morning, Professor Ganefri. Good morning, Professor Ganefri.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. And also I would like to greet Mr. Dr. Eng Agus Setiawan, MSc from Universitas Negeri Indonesia. Good morning, Mr. Agus.
Good morning, thank you.
Yeah, actually, we still have other 3 keynote speakers. Probably they will join with us later, which is Mr. Christopher Zickley, PhD from Ohio University, United States. And then Dr. Teacher Kyung from University Thanusen on Malaysia. And the last keynote speaker will join with us later is Dr. Asnul Dahar bin Mikat from University Teknologi Malaysia, UTM. Please, all participants, probably you can mute your voice recorder. Okay. I also would like to inform to all participants that we will start our keynote session in the few minutes later. If you have any question during the presentation, please type them into the question box provided in your Zoom control panel, and I will bring them up in the end of keynote presentation. Well, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, for the first invited speakers who will present his work and ideas is Professor Ganefri, PhD from Universitas Negeri Padang. To Mr. Ganefri, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Edita. I will share screen. Okay, thank you. I would like to give a presentation about vocational education in millennial era. In this presentation, I will deliver a view perspective that I got from General Director of Vocational Education. Vocational education is the future of Indonesia amidst the current wave of the Industrial Revolution 4.0. It is because the digital era promises excellent opportunities for Indonesia's millennial generation, who are dynamic and creative. For that, the nation's next generation must be creative and productive in order to compete globally. Okay, in this slide, we can see about how to encourage the link and match between vocational education and industry. The best curriculum, practitioner teachers or lecturer from, internship, hiring of graduates, scholarship from industry, competency, donation from, and TEFA or teaching industry. The government has launched this since the 90s. However, the preparation of the curriculum is still running independently. Education providers feel that they can see the needs of the industry. Meanwhile, the industry feels that vocational education graduates are not ready to work. Therefore, industry involvement is essential so that vocational graduates meet the standard needs. For example, through practical activities involving instructor from industry. The curriculum is compiled with industry or training materials and industry certification or officially included in the curriculum on campus. Besides, if teacher and lecturer are allowed to participate in activities and applied research in industry, industrial productivity will also increase. I think Indonesia has developed the manufacturing industry and the service industry, finance, health, and others. Thus, revitalization needs to involve all sectors. Organizing an internship for at least 6 months in the independent learning program, it is a breakthrough that should be supported. This is the graduates. Next, about the graduates. Current vocational education graduates must be competent and skilled. For this reason, besides having a diploma, they must also have a certificate of competence, project portfolio, proficiency in foreign language, and very important, soft skills. For example, communication, leadership, problem solving, and English language. Ready to work or continue education to a higher level or become a top entrepreneur. I think it is important. Besides that, IT literacy and critical thinking, creativity, communication, and collaboration, foresee. It is several competence very important. Next, today's vocational education must be able to form innovative and agile graduates. Yeah, innovative and agile by process. So that later it will be in accordance with the wishes of industrial and business users. The outcome that can be given from vocational education graduates is that industrial competitiveness and productivity increase rapidly, thus providing high economic growth. Yeah. Okay, next. There are few characteristics when a link and match already applied. First, competence and skill graduates which signed by certificate of competency by plus project portfolio plus foreign language plus soft skill. For example, communication, leadership, problem solving, English. And then the adaptable curriculum, agile, flexible. The curriculum arranged together with industry. Very important, vocational education learning should be used project-based learning or production-based learning and teaching factory learning models. I think this is vocational education a very important educational learning. Jadi vocational education learning should be used project-based learning, production-based learning, and teaching factory learning models. And next, applied research. Yeah. Vocational education should be applied research. The output should be real products. Another characteristic are the student have passion and vision. Achievers have entrepreneurship. I think institutional vocational education is expected to be in the form of PTNBH or atau perguruan tinggi negeri berbadan hukum. Example for UPI. Or PTN BMU. Yeah, Inshallah, UNP is currently transforming into PTNBH, this one. And you can see the output and outcome in here. Next, yeah, this is output or outcome vocational education. Okay. There are two things that need to be considered for the provision of vocational education in the current millennial era. The first, we must adapt our curriculum to the needs of today's industry and technological advance. Second, develop learning methods using a project-based learning, a project-based learning model, production-based learning, or a teaching factory model. I think three learning model very important for vocational education. Project-based learning model, production-based learning, and teaching factory. Okay, that's all a little about vocational education in millennial era. Thank you for your attention and enjoy the seminar. Wassalam. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Professor Ganefri, for your great presentation. And thank you very much once again for your willingness to be one of the keynote speakers in this conference today. We all know that you are very busy and you still have other agenda. So ladies and gentlemen, probably Professor Ganefri, PhD, will not stay with us until the end of this conference. Thank you very much, Professor Ganefri, for your participation. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you are welcome. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, actually the second keynote speaker will perform for today's conference is Mr. Christopher Zirkli from the Ohio State University, United States, but currently he hasn't joined with us today, and we are still waiting for him. So we would like to welcome first to the third keynote speaker for this conference today, Mr. Dr. Eng Agus Setiawan, MSE. Okay, before Mr. Dr. Agus Setiawan, MSE, present his presentation, I would like to share a little bit about his profile. This is the brief profile of Dr. Eng Agus Setiawan, MSE. Currently, he is serving as a senior lecturer at Department of Mechanical Engineering Education in Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia. And for the education background, he completed his bachelor degree in Physics Education in Institut Keguruan and Pendidikan IKIP Bandung in 1992. And for master degree, he completed in Physics in Institut Teknologi Bandung, ITB, in 1994. And in 2004, he completed his doctoral degree in Applied Science in Tohoku University. For the publication area, his publication area is covering this kind of topics like material physics, and then physics education, and the technical and vocational education and training, TVET. Well, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Eng Agus Setiawan, MSE. The time is yours.
Thank you very much, Bu Erika. May I share my screen?
Yes, please.
Wait a moment, I have a problem.
Yeah, take your time, Bapak.
Could you see my screen?
No.
No? How about now?
Yes.
Yes, I can see it.
Okay. The Honorable Pak Rektor, Pak Dekan of Universitas Negeri Padang, or the keynote speakers, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am Agus Setiawan from Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia. It is my great honor to be one of the speakers in this very important event. Today, I would like to talk about TVET teachers' education and competencies in Millennium Era. Here is the outline of my speech, which consists of 3 parts. The first one is an introduction. In this session, I would like to talk a little bit about the current status of SMK, vocational secondary vocational education, and then about the TVET teachers' competencies, especially in Millennium Era, and as well as Industrial Revolution 4.0. And the last, I'll talk about the professional teacher education, the current status here in Indonesia, and as well as what happened in this region, I mean in ASEAN. Okay, I'll start with the first one. This slide shows the importance of TVET. Currently, in the last decade, TVET become more attractive because of important role to economic development, to the country economic development by providing skilled worker and competence worker. In order to respond TVET development in this country, we are lucky that since 2016, we already have the legal infrastructure for SMK revitalization, which aim to improve the quality of human resources for the national competitiveness. If we talk about the TVET development, the quality of TVET for sure is very much determined by the quality of teachers. So this means that the development of TVET teachers' competencies is very important to be carried out. But unfortunately, so far we here in Indonesia still face some problem with SMA. The following are just a selected SMK problem. First, about inefficiency. As maybe you already know that almost 75% of all SMK are private SMK with a small size. This indicate that the management of a vocational school is very difficult because we have a very quite large number of SMK. Then, based on the measurement of national standard education, standard national pendidikan for SMK, we found the average score for all the standard is still low, 5.3 in 10 scale, which means that's lower than 60%. And also, among 8 national standard, the teacher standard is the lowest one, 3.5, indicating here in our country, in Indonesia, we have a problem with teachers. So we have a lack of number and competency of vocational teachers, and also lack of laboratory and workshop facilities, especially for remote areas for a small SMK. And another important issue is about mismatch between industry need as well as lack of industrial experience of teachers and also students. And last but not least, unemployment rate of SMK graduate is still high, roughly 11%, and this is the highest one compared to the others graduate, SMA, Polytechnic, and so on. So all these problems should be solved by SMK revitalization. The following are areas of SMK revitalization, which consists of 6 focus. The first is about development of curriculum in order to meet the industrial need, and teacher and education staff, development of teacher and educational staff, innovation in teaching and learning by optimizing the use of ICT as tool for teaching and learning, and improvement cooperation with industry enterprise in terms of quality and number of cooperation, because the industry is an important element for TVET development. And the development of facility and infrastructure for SMK, and also about the governance, institutional government, school governance. So, but in this occasion, I only want to focus on one of the areas of revitalization, talking about teachers, future SMK teachers. If we look at another document provided by Ministry of Education and Culture under the Directorate of SMK Development, we found 4 focus of SMK revitalization, changing from the supply-driven to demand-driven. So far, we produce so many graduate with high unemployability. And the second one, preparing competent and capable graduate as well as acquisition of 21st century skill. So because now in the era of Industrial Revolution 4.0, the graduate should be equipped by a new skill and competence. And the third one is talking about the current status for secondary vocational education in Indonesia. Here we have SMK, course institute, and special need SMA. No, at the moment it's spirit, but for the future will be integrated by resource sharing facilities and human resources. And the last one is increasing relevance and competence of graduate through strengthening cooperation with the industry. So again, here I want to address only one aspect regarding the grade competence and teachers' competence. So this is a dream, our dream, the characteristic of future SMK graduate by SMK revitalization. So we hope that our graduate in the future will have a strong character, hold the 21st century skill, and they are certified by trusted certification bodies, and become adaptive and lifelong learners, innovative and entrepreneur, and become a global citizenship, because now in the era of globalization. Of course, this is not easy to produce such graduate, but Indonesia is trying to develop. So as I already mentioned before, that SMK revitalization starts in 2016, and after 2 or 3 years implementation, our research team tried to evaluate the status of implementation by distributing a questionnaire to the piloted SMK revitalization. We asked them 6 aspects of revitalization in terms of important level and achievement level so far. And the result, we found that basically all the aspects, the 6 aspects of revitalization are rated highly important. This means that the school think that the revitalization is important. And the best achievement so far is for aspect number 2, about innovation and teaching and learning. But the worst achievement, again and again, the development of teacher and education staff. So even after revitalization program, this teacher aspect is still problematic, still a problem. So from now, I would like to talk a little bit about the future skill, the required skill for the next future graduate. So the first one, from literature, we found that there are 4 categories of 21st century skill, divided into 4 aspects. The way of thinking, including creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, decision making, and skill for learning itself. And the way of working, at least communication skill and collaboration skill. And tool for working, because this is in the digital era, we need the literacy in ICT and information. And last but not least, skill for living in the world in the era of globalization, citizenship, life and career, and personal and social responsibility. All those 21st century skills should be integrated in the curricula to produce a quality graduate. Also another reference from World Economic Forum, They provide 21st century skill for Industrial Revolution 4.0, classified into three aspects: foundation literacy. This is related to how students apply core skill to everyday tasks like literacy, numeracy, scientific literacy, and so on. And competencies, how students approach complex challenges. For this case, they need to be equipped by a critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, communication, and collaboration. Popular call as sport C or C, and character qualities. This is also should be addressed in the new curricula, vocational school curricula. From HRD readiness study in ASEAN, we also get some general competencies of worker in the era of in the digital era. For example, competency in numeracy and literacy, high order cognitive skill, as already mentioned before, ICT skill or digital skill also, same with the previous one, about STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Social skill, of course, learnability, and character qualities, and also the important one, problem solving in complex technology-rich environment, because of currently we face a very sophisticated technology, so this skill is very important. From another source, Future of Job report by World Economic Forum. Here we can see that, the lab one is the top 10 skill this year's to 2020, and 5 years before, the list of 13 is like this one is the right one. So it is interesting to see that complex problem solving, critical thinking, and creativity is the three first priority to be equipped for the graduate. So development of problem solving, critical thinking, and creativity is very important in our education system. Okay, also this slide show, I refer from Roland Berger's site in ILO. Another important qualification and skill for Industry 4.0. They write for element knowledge about ICT and ability to work with data and technical know-how. Yeah, this is about the technical skill and personal skill. The upper part, the blue one, is the more focused, the most important at the current stage. So the development of knowledge about ICT and ability to work with data is are very, very important to address, to be integrated in the curricula. So then this year, our team got a grant from UPI to study about the future skill for graduate and for TVET teachers, and we select 15 aspect of 21st century skill and ask the TVET actor and TVET stakeholder, as well as school researcher, about the level of need and level of acquisition by the current teachers. The existing in service teachers. So you can find the detail, but we conclude that for all the aspect, I mean the 15 aspect, the average level of need is quite high. It's nearly 100%, 97%. This means that all the skill is very important. But we asked them about the acquisition, still 71%, which means that we have a chance to integrate, to develop 21st century skill that, for teachers through what we call as PPG, Pendidikan Profesi Guru, and continuous professional for existing in-service teachers. Well, from now, I would like to talk about the last part of my presentation about PPG, Professional Teacher Education, Pendidikan Profesi Guru. But before talking about the PPG design, yeah, I already mentioned here, at least we identify 5 teacher problem in Indonesia. I mean, not only for TP teacher, but also another teachers. So first, we have a problem with the number of teachers, especially in certain vocational field. For example, we are very small number of, I mean, maritime vocational teachers, agriculture, agri-technologies. We still need more teacher on this area. And also about competencies. Yeah, based on the, I mean, uji kompetensi guru, teacher competence test, the score is still low. And we have a problem about distribution of teachers. Mostly teachers placed in Java. And also problem with the, I mean, host of PPG at LPTK. Like in my institution, UP, and also Universitas Negeri Padang, because for your information, at the moment we have 61 to 66 eligible LPTK to provide PPG program, but in terms of quality, they are very large difference in quality. So we have a big problem to develop LPTK. And also the career development for teacher is still not clear yet at the moment. So yeah, this is the new design for professional teacher education, also implemented in this year, even in the pandemic era, because we use ICT as a platform by using LMS system. So I must have a part of a task force in under the Ministry of Education and Culture, who are responsible for development of PPG program. So we have two kind of PPG here: free service PPG and in-service PPG. Free service PPG is for fresh graduate, S1 or D4 in education and non-education. They have to earn 36 until 40 credit, and then followed by, of course, the PPG conducted at LPTK, and then knowledge test and teaching performance test conducted by National Committee for PPG Assessment Team, and then got a certificate, teacher certificate, equivalent to level 7 of KKNI, Indonesian Qualification Framework. So the actual credit is at this year's 38 credit. But for in-service PPG, guru dalam jabatan, this is for in-service teacher who already hold S1 or D4 degree, but they don't have a certificate until 2015. 2015 means that 10 years after Undang-Undang Guru dan Dosen, Law number 14, 2005. But because of recognition prior learning, RPL, they only FAL is for 24 credits, so they have to fulfill only 12 credit to complete the PPG program. And here's the main course, deepening of pedagogical and subject matter knowledge in bahasa, pendalaman materi pedagogi dan bidang studi. 2 credit for pre-service PPG and 5 credit for in-service PPG. And then development of lesson plan, pengembangan perangkat pembelajaran. And the last is a practicum, PPL, at a partner school. Here there's the existing PPG program. If we look at the design, we are lucky that actually the new program already respond the requirement for Industry 4.0 as well as 21st century school 20th skill. For example, here I would like to mention that this new PPG model oriented to the strengthening literacy, numeracy, and character. Also adopt the concept of Merdeka Belajar, Pelajar Pancasila, improve of education ecosystem, oriented to the development of higher order thinking skill using technical, technological, and pedagogical content knowledge approach, deepening the social cultural, increasing competence and collaboration between instructor and tutor, between guru pamong dan dosen pembimbing, improving the ability of collaborate on learning. So the reflection will be become one of the important innovation in the new PPG model. So to be reflective teachers and increasing leadership skill on learning, and also here we use optimize the use of ICT by implementing blended learning in the new PPG model. Now, what I talked before is about the PPG in Indonesia at the moment, but we have to look. What the development in the region in ASEAN. So basically, the following are type of vocational teacher in Southeast Asia. They have a general teacher, TPET school teachers, trainer and instructor, and in-company trainer. But in Indonesia, actually, TPET teachers teach theory and also practice. But in other country, sometimes they classified the teacher for theory and teacher for practice. And so because of in order to respond the globalization, an initiative have been taken by CMO to formulate the regional TPET teacher standard. And this standard developed by a team representing CMO member countries and experts from the region and supported by Germany, GIZ. Endorsed by CMO TPET High Official during the third High Official meeting in 2017, and also approved by CMO Minister of Education. And now we have the second revision was carried out in December last year to highlight the vocational discipline and the response to the requirement for Industrial Revolution 4.0. So this figure the design in terms of input, process, output, and outcome qualities of the regional TPET teacher standard. Because of limited time. So here, in terms of input and process, at least 1 year of teaching experience, relevant work experience industry, more than 6 months, and hot bachelor degree or equivalent with IQRF, ASEAN Qualification Reference Framework, level 6, and higher education skill, higher vocational skill level in that to be conducted, and output one level approach, master degree, level 6, level 7, and outcome train TPET student until post-secondary and focus on occupational competence. This is the ASEAN framework. Actually, other country like Indonesia should, adopt this agreement, because this is a framework for the region. And so maybe this too detailed to explain, but actually the following are area of RTTS and competencies, divided into personal and social areas, and vocational skill in terms of research, discipline, didactic, pedagogy, and management. What I want to say here that actually in the region there are an existing framework for TPET teachers in Southeast Asia, but so far maybe response of every country is still different. Especially also Indonesia is still using the current the own system, have not accommodate the RTTS until now. Well, finally, this is concluding remark of my presentation. Come to 5 points. First, TPET sector play important role in economic development by preparing skilled worker. So the TPET development is important. And the second one is the quality of TPET is very much determined by the quality of TPET teacher. So the teacher's competence development is very much needed in everywhere, including in Indonesia. TPET graduate and TPET teachers must be equipped with a number of new skill called 21st century skill, IR 4.0 skill, or other name. But this is a new skill to be integrated. And globalization, an effect of globalization and rapid change of technology demands the standardization of TPET teachers, as already mentioned in the last slide. And the PPG, Pendidikan Profesi Guru, and CPD, Continuous Professional Development Model, must be adapted to the new era. We have to revise the PPG model and Continuous Professional Development Model to for the better TPET teacher in the future. That's all my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Agus, for your great presentation about the teacher education and roles in the millennium era, and also Dr. Agus has described about what kind of competencies and skill that teacher need and should be equipped in the millennium era. Thank you very much, Dr. Agus. Actually, we already collected some questions addressed to Mr. Agus' presentation, but it will be asked later, maybe in the Q&A session by the end of the keynote speech session, Dr. Agus. Thank you very much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, before we go to the next keynote speaker, I would like to greet first to other 2 keynote speakers who has participated with us in this conference today. Mr. Christopher Zickliffe, PhD from Ohio State University, USA. I don't know how to say good morning or good night based on your time there. It's supposed to be good night, right?
Yes. Good evening.
Okay. Okay. How are you, Mr. Zickliffe?
Good.
Good.
Just fine. Thank you.
Okay. And I also want to greet Dr. T. Chekyong from University Tan Hussein on Malaysia, who has joined with us as well. Good morning, Dr. T.
Morning, Ibu Erita.
Good morning. Okay, Dr. T. Okay, I think we will start to the presentation of the Mr. Christopher Zickliffe. I don't know how to pronounce Zickliffe.
Zirkle, close enough.
Zirkle?
Yes, there you go.
Zirkles. So I just call you Mr. Zirkle. Okay.
That works.
Okay. So you are ready, Mr. Zirkle? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Share my screen, maybe.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the third invited speaker is Mr. Christopher Zirkle, PhD from Ohio State University, USA. To Mr. Christopher, time is yours.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. And we're ready. So thank you for this opportunity. I want to talk this evening, about the vocational technical education system in the United States, share some information with you. And so we'll just get started. So the outline for the presentation will be to talk a little bit about the background and purpose of vocational education, levels and locations of vocational education programs and courses in the United States. Talk a little bit about teacher education in vocational education, and then also challenges and solutions in vocational education in the US. So to start, let me give you some background on vocational education in the US. First of all, vocational education is an elective form of education. So students in the US do not need to take any courses. They do not need to participate in any vocational education in order to earn a high school diploma or to earn a college or university degree. But the interesting thing is that more than 85% of high school students in the United States take at least one vocational course, and maybe it's a short course for one semester, or maybe it's a one-year course, but they take something. And 25% of our students take 3 or more courses, and they are known as vocational education concentrators. So even though it's not a requirement, vocational education courses are very popular with United States students, which many people from other countries are surprised to hear that. Historically, vocational education has focused on one thing. When I was growing up, vocational education was only focused on entry-level skills for people to get a job once they left school. Now we have a much broader focus. We still prepare students who want to go into the workplace, but we also prepare students to go to technical college. We have many that go on to university. We have some that enter into apprenticeship programs that are operated by the Department of Labor in the United States. Many students go on for more vocational training in the military. We also have many adults who go back to school, maybe in the evenings or on the weekends, to get new skills because they want a promotion or they want a higher salary. And we also have vocational education in many of our prisons as a kind of second chance opportunity, because we feel that once those people have served their time, they need some skills and education once they leave to be successful in the society. Otherwise, they will go back to prison. So we invest some money into training those individuals when they're in prison. So the purposes of vocational education have grown in the last 30 to 40 years in our country. So where can we find programs of vocational education? And you can see this picture is probably some middle school students, grades 5 or 6. And that's kind of where we start. If you look at this graph or this graphic, you can see this is the ages of students. So our primary and secondary system usually starts at maybe ages 3 or 4 and goes to maybe ages 17 or perhaps 18. And then the grades are over here, kindergarten, 1, 2, 3, up through grade 12. So this is our primary and secondary education system. Above the arrows is our post-secondary education system with 2-year colleges and technical colleges, 4-year universities, and then universities like mine that provide master's degrees and PhDs and medical degrees and law and those sorts of areas. Most of the vocational training in the US happens in the last 2 years of high school and maybe the first 2 years of a technical college or community college degree. Although we are seeing some programs now and courses offered in middle grades in what we call junior high schools, maybe grades 6, 7, and 8. We're trying to do more in the lower grades to get students interested in vocational education. So again, this is a graphic of the United States educational system that highlights where a lot of our programming in vocational education happens. So we have a system of comprehensive high schools, and comprehensive high schools generally are grades 9 through 12, and they are comprehensive because they are supposed to serve the needs of every student. So if you want to go to university, then we have college preparation courses. If you want vocational courses, we have those in a comprehensive high school. Maybe not very many, but we have them. If you are a student who is at risk and has special learning needs, we provide supports for you. So comprehensive high schools serve every student who comes through the door, and most high schools in the United States are comprehensive. In many states in the US, we have a system of career centers. And these work by forming agreements with local comprehensive high schools. So in grades 11 and 12, if I'm a student at this comprehensive high school, and maybe there's not a vocational program that I want, maybe I want to be an automotive mechanic, and my high school doesn't have this program, but it's at the Career Center, I can choose, I can elect to go to the Career Center and take my automotive program. What this does is it gives more choices to all the students at these comprehensive high schools that surround the Career Center. And it's more economic, a more economic way to offer more choices to students. So there's a collaboration, there's cooperation between these comprehensive high schools and the Career Center. It's been a very effective system. We also have Job Corps centers, and these are like career centers, but they are a second chance system for students maybe who have dropped out of high school, and maybe they are 20 years old and they don't have a direction. They don't know what they want to do. They can go back to a Job Corps center and get some technical training and maybe a high school diploma if they did not get a high school diploma the first time. So it's a way to give them a second chance. We also have much vocational training at community colleges and technical colleges who offer 2-year degrees, associate degrees. And 1/3 of all students who are in post-secondary education in the United States are taking that education at a 2-year college. And we have many adults who maybe they work all day and they go to the local community college to get additional training in the evenings or online because they want to get a promotion or a raise in salary. As I mentioned too, we have programs in our prisons for both youth and adults to give them maybe a high school diploma if they don't have one, and some technical training so that they can get a job when they are released. And then we also have a system of formal apprenticeship, as I mentioned, through the Department of Labor. And as you can see, in 2018, we had more than 55,000 students who completed an apprenticeship program somewhere in the United States. We have 6 traditional areas of study within vocational education: agriculture, business, family and consumer sciences, health occupations, marketing, and in trade and industrial education. And I will break those out a little bit more here in a moment in another slide. The typical structure of that high school program in grades 11 and 12 would look something like this. Academic preparation. So if I want to be involved in the health sciences, my coursework in high school is going to be academic preparation related to health science. So I'm going to take some biology and chemistry, anatomy, physiology, and then I'm going to be given basic technical skill development. And the assumption is that the student is going to continue education past high school. They're going to go to a two-year college, they're going to go to a university, or they're going to maybe be in the military or an apprenticeship, but they don't, it's assumed they aren't going to just stop. They're going to keep going for their education. Even if they get a job out of high school, the assumption is they're going to have to keep going to school to keep up with technological change. And post-secondary education then is for that advanced skill training. A little bit about teachers, which is something that I'm involved in heavily at my university. I oversee a fairly large vocational teacher preparation program. The vocational teacher workday looks something like this. It's about 8 hours in length, generally maybe from 7:30 to 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And teachers either teach 5 or 6 or 7 50-minute classes, or maybe they have what we call a block schedule, and they teach two 2.5-hour blocks, one in the morning and one in the afternoon, that have the vocational training laboratory. It sort of depends on what the subject area is that they're teaching. Teachers are obligated by law. They are given a lunch period and a planning period to plan their lessons, to grade papers, to contact parents, whatever they have to do. They get a 50-minute or so planning period and then about 30 minutes for lunch. They have many responsibilities. One is they have to be in charge of their vocational laboratory. They have to create and oversee an industry advisory committee, which is generally 6 to 10 people from companies, from the government, from industry, who provide advice to them about the curriculum, about the equipment. They help them find jobs for the students. And they generally meet 2 to 3 times a year with their advisory committee. Some vocational teachers may also coach a sport. In the US, teachers are not paid that well compared to some other occupations and professions. So some vocational teachers may coach a sport like football or basketball or baseball to increase their salary. And vocational teachers can get teaching certificates or licenses in those 6 broad areas. So within agricultural education, there are different subcategories, such as production agriculture, agricultural mechanics, horticulture, landscaping. You can see the different areas under each one. Business education, you can teach accounting or finance or maybe computers and information technology. The biggest area is trade and industrial education, and that's where we find programs like carpentry and welding and auto mechanics and heating and air conditioning, some of the very, what I call heavy labs. Those are the ones that generally have the most programs within a career center. And we have 2 different ways that we prepare teachers in the United States, and it sort of depends on what subjects you're going to teach. So we have a traditional bachelor's degree if you want to teach agriculture or business or family consumer sciences or marketing. This requires you to get a bachelor's degree, and you, in some cases, you may also get a master's degree. Our program at my university, we offer both options for people. And within that degree, you take general education courses, you take vocational education content. So if you are studying agriculture, you take agricultural courses. And you also take a set of courses in teaching, and you do field experiences where you go out and visit schools and observe master teachers. And your final experience in your last semester is to do student teaching, or we call it clinical practice, where you are the teacher of record, and you generally teach for 10 to 12 weeks. You're not paid. It's part of your final educational requirement in the university. In most states, you have to pass a test over your knowledge of vocational education and a test over your knowledge of teaching pedagogy. And after all that happens, then you can go look for a job. We also have an alternative pathway that brings people in from industry. And these are generally in programs that are highly specialized, highly technical. Many of our health programs, such as nursing or dental lab technician, or those welding programs and carpentry programs, we bring people in from industry who have at least, in our state, the requirement is 5 years of work experience. In some states, it's a little bit less. In a couple of states, it's a bit more. But you have to have the real world work experience to qualify for the initial license. And so it's based on a combination of work experience and education. You must have at least a high school diploma. And you can get hired before you take any classes. So a person can try to find a teaching job, and then they enroll in a program like the one I have at my university, where they take courses in teaching pedagogy while they're teaching. So it's kind of like an in-service program where it's on-the-job teaching. And we work with them for 4 years, including going out in their first year teaching, and we sit in their classroom and observe and provide them feedback for their entire school year. We have a teacher educator that goes out to their classroom, to their laboratory, and observes them. And they both these pathways, they take the same sort of teaching pedagogy courses. So there's a Foundations of Education course, educational psychology, a methods course, a curriculum course, a course on classroom and laboratory management, a course on student assessment, a course on how to use technology, educational technology and instruction. So everyone generally takes a course or a workshop in these particular subject areas. So there are different types of universities that offer training. Large research-focused universities like mine at Ohio State, Penn State University, the University of Georgia. And then we have smaller state universities like Western Michigan, Northern Illinois. And then we have private universities also. But most of the vocational teacher training is done at the larger state-supported institutions. So some challenges and solutions in the vocational system in the United States. For the longest time in this country, we have seen vocational education as a second-class system, which is a common theme across the world. That vocational education is where we put the students who can't do academic coursework. Parental focus in this country, in our society, is the only way to be successful is to get a 4-year university degree. We've also had an issue that there hasn't been a lot of research done about the benefits of vocational education in this country until recently, and I'll tell you more about that in a minute. We have some concerns with our curriculum because we do much more with our vocational education than we did in the past. We still focus on students who want to get an entry-level job, but we have many more students who want to go on to some kind of post-secondary system, whether it's a community college or a university. We have many adults who want to better themselves, get a better job, get a higher salary. And then we have another group of people that are, incarcerated, they're in a prison, and we want to give them a second chance. And so vocational education has become a very comprehensive system in the United States, but it creates this problem of how we are all things to all people, how we serve all these different groups. It takes money. I've always said you cannot do good quality vocational education cheaply. It just doesn't work. So the funding of our programs, it's expensive to offer high quality vocational education and have good equipment, good supplies, a highly qualified teacher. It takes money. And in the United States, our education system is funded in each state decides how to fund it. We get a little bit of money from the federal government, but most of it comes from state and local taxes. And people in the United States don't like to pay taxes. So what we've seen in the last 20 or so years is the funding for vocational education has increased very little. And the cost of offering programs has gone up. So, and every one of the states funds vocational education at different levels. So in some states, we have very high quality programs, and in other states, maybe not such high quality. At post-secondary level, mostly our programs are funded through tuition. Students pay tuition to go to the community college or the university. The state kicks in some money, but mostly it's paid through tuition, student tuition. And as I mentioned about teachers, teaching is not necessarily well paid or prestigious. So recruiting those people from industry can be difficult because in the United States right now, there is such a need for skilled labor that, and I tell this when I go to China and Japan, and I've been to Korea several times and Taiwan. If you are a high quality automotive mechanic, you can make more money than a university professor. So many times it's hard to get high quality people to come from industry because the salary is better working for the company than it is working for a school. We also have the problem that if you're teaching, how do you keep up your technical skills? Because technology changes so fast. So how do you go back as a teacher to continue your training to keep up with the latest techniques in your field? We also have an issue that some universities are not training vocational teachers anymore. They're focusing more on math teachers or science teachers or special education, and they are not focusing on preparing vocational teachers. So that's an issue. So in the late 1990s, we started to see some things that said we have to make some changes. That we recognize there's a global economy that our students are working in, that the competition is across the world, not just within the United States, it's across the world, and that technology changes every day. And this has been a problem now for 30 years, skilled labor. We have such shortages, and that the workplace itself requires more education. Even if you want to work at a McDonald's, you have to be able to perhaps run a computer-based ordering system. So more educated workers in the workforce. Increased accountability for schools. People who say, I'm paying taxes to support the school. I want to know that my taxes are being spent correctly. And then the other challenge that we face in our country is we have a very diverse student population. We have many immigrants that come from other countries. We have many students with special learning needs. And so it's very difficult to meet the needs of everybody within our vocational education programs. So we recognized that we had some problems. And so we've tried to make some improvements over the years. And we changed the name in 1998. So many people in the United States have a negative view of the word vocational. And we changed it to career and technical education because we really are focused on careers in technical fields. And, you know, if that's all we did, it wouldn't have made any difference. But what we've also done is we have high involvement now with business and industry, and we get more of our students in the high schools out into work-based learning and things like job shadowing and internships. And we've seen a great increase in employer involvement, especially through some very large organizations who are more involved in the education of young people. And we also have better connections with post-secondary education. We have what's called dual credit options where students can actually earn some college credit while they're in high school. So that it gives them advantage because they maybe have earned some college credit while they're still in high school, so that when they get to college, they can maybe spend a little less time getting an associate degree or a bachelor's degree. So we've developed these partnerships with post-secondary and secondary education. We now have a research system that's very well put together that conducts research on the outcomes of vocational education. And the United States Department of Education now has a specific research agenda focused on vocational education. We've not had that in the past. Another thing that we've changed has been the curriculum. We are trying to focus more on broad-based skills, basic technical skills in the high school, and then advanced technical skills at one of those post-secondary places, whether it's an apprenticeship or a two-year college or the military. And we focused a lot more on integration of academics and improving the quality of academic coursework that our vocational students take, because they have to have a better grasp of math and basic scientific principles, and they have to be able to read and write well if they're going to be successful in the workplace. So actually, that's my presentation. I hope I didn't go too fast, but I knew I was under a little bit of time constraint. So
thank you very much, Mr. Ziegler, for such great presentation about the vocational and technical education in the U.S. Mr. Ziegler, Mr. Chris, as you informed to me previously that probably you're not able to stay with us until the end of this conference. Mm-hmm. So is that okay for you, maybe, because you already collect 3 questions from our participants, is that okay for you maybe to answer first before you leave from our conference room?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Sure. As much time as you want. Sure.
Yeah. Okay, I will share the question from our participants.
Okay.
So here is the first question for you, Mr. Chris. From Doni Triputrayanto, one of the activities in vocational education in the level of university is the industrial training that aims to prepare students for future employment in their chosen discipline. Industrial trainings allow students to practice or experience what they have learned in the university by joining a company for a period of time. And COVID-19 has changed this practice and how its implementation in United States during the COVID-19. Okay, please answer this question, Mr. Christopher.
Yes, I mean, it has created significant challenges for us because of the restrictions in terms of, going into workplaces. So I don't know that I have a good answer for that question, because many employers are not open to having students at the moment. If it requires them to be on site within a company, obviously, if there are things that can be done virtually, they are still willing to have students, but it has really created issues for our internships and those job shadowing experiences in companies. I don't have a good answer for that.
So how about in university? Is there any activities that maybe could be replace that kind of activities?
Well, we have tried in some cases to change the schedules of the students so that, for example, maybe what we try to think of a good example. In many cases, the students, perhaps they have a laboratory for 2 hours a day. And then the rest of the time they might be in an academic classroom. So one of the things that we are doing is we are doing all the academic information and the theory online. And then when the students are on the campus, instead of for 2 hours, they might be in the laboratory for 6 hours or 8 hours, which the students really like because they want that hands-on. So we've shifted the academic and the theoretical content to an online focus. And then instead of 5 days and 2 hours a day, maybe what we do is we do 3 days and they're in the laboratory for 5 or 6 hours. So it's more concentrated, it's more focused while they're in the laboratory. And if we do this, say, on a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, then on Tuesday and Thursday, they're online doing their academic work. And it also allows us to do the cleaning and the taking care of any issues in the buildings on those days when the students are not there. So we've tried to adjust the way the students take the coursework.
Yes. Okay,
Yeah.
I think the COVID-19 has changed the education system, not only I think in Indonesia, but also in your country, Mr. Zikli. Yeah. Okay, we go to the next question, Mr. Zikli. Let me share again another question. This is from Miss Risma. About the vocational education for individuals convicted of crimes, do they enter public vocational education institution, or there are special educational institution for them? And do you know what field they choose the most? Okay.
Yes. So they are actually classrooms and laboratories within the prisons, and the teachers are in those prisons. And if they choose to, when they leave, if they are released from prison, most of our state our state schools, state universities will allow them to enroll unless the crime they did was something very, very bad, say of a sexual nature where they cannot be in contact with people. But if the crime was not significant, the university will still let them, after they're released, they can attend a community college or a university within some guidelines. But originally, though, the training for them is within the prison itself. And we work with those teachers, my university and my program. We send our teacher educators into the prisons to observe the teachers in the prisons. And then as far as the programs, the most popular ones are auto mechanics, carpentry, some agriculture programs. They cannot take programs and training in the health occupations. because of safety concerns and that sort of thing. But they can get training in welding and electrical trades and auto mechanics, automotive collision repair. Those are the popular ones. Also, basic business courses and computer courses are also offered in the prisons. So it's right there in the prison.
Okay, thank you for your answer, Mr. Zekle. This is the last question for you, Dr. Zekle.
No problem.
Okay. Could you see the question on your screen, Mr. Zekle? Yes, I think this is from a participant who has interest maybe to pursue his PhD in your university, I think. From Mr. Saiful. I completed my master degree in vocational education and training. Based on your presentation, I interest to continue my PhD in your department. Is there any position available there, and what kind of things or requirements that I need to prepare for taking PhD there? Okay.
Great, good question. Yes. And the answer is yes, and we have international students in our program from many Asian countries. The requirements would be a master's degree, which is already had, an application, 3 letters of recommendation. There's no test required.
No test required?
No. We used to require the GRE, the graduate recommendation. We do not require that. There are some teaching assistantship opportunities. The difficulty there is they're very competitive because we have domestic students and other international students who want those because it helps support paying for their education. So there are opportunities, but there are always many students who apply for those. But if you have my email, or I can put it in the chat, if this person wants to contact me, I can send them the very specific information. If they're interested in coming here, say in the fall of 2021, the deadline for application is December 1st. So it's coming up very
1st, okay.
Coming up very quickly.
December 1st.
I will type my email in to you, and then you can share it.
Actually, I already received your email through your CV.
Oh, yes.
Probably I will share later, maybe.
Okay.
To all the participants. So, which means that there is no test like GRA that should be taken for the participant that who wants to continue their study in your university. Okay.
Not in our program. Now, in some programs, the GRE is required, but not in ours.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Zirko. Yes, I feel hard to pronounce.
Circle. Just think.
Zirko. Zirko.
Circle with a Z.
Oh, Zirko. Okay, Mr. Zirko.
Now you have it.
Okay, Mr. Zirko, it's still hard for me to pronounce your name, actually. Thank you very much, Mr. Zirko, for your participation. I really appreciate that you still able to make it to perform live in our conference. It's such a great honor for us. Thank you very much, Mr. Zirko. And also, Papa Mukhlidi, Mr. Mukhlidi.
Yeah.
Is there maybe some word that you want to say to Mr. Zirko because before he leave from our conference room?
Yes, I think it's thank you very much for you join for this our conference, and thank you.
No, thank you for the opportunity. It's been very nice. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Zirko. We're looking forward maybe to have some work collaboration with you in the future. Okay, yes, thank you very much once again.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, there is the presentation from Mr. Christopher Zirko. And now we would like to welcome our fourth keynote speaker, Mr. Dr. T. Chekyong from University Tan Hussein on Malaysia. Okay, Dr. T, I think this is the second time for me to meet you, right?
Yes, Ibu
Yes.
Erita.
Okay, Dr. T, before you start your presentation, I think I would like to share a little bit about your profile to all participants.
Please.
Okay. Okay, this is maybe the short brief of Dr. T. Chekyong profile. Currently, he's working in the Department of Professional Education in the Faculty of Technical and Vocational Education in the University Tan Hussein on Malaysia. And for his education background, he completed his bachelor degree in Technology with Education in Civil Engineering University Technology Malaysia. And for the master degree, he also completed in the same university in the field of technical and vocational education. And for PhD, he completed in University Tan Hussein on Malaysia in the field of technical and vocational education as well. He also serving some professional positions such as a technologist for the Malaysia Board of Technologies. And then he also serving as a senior researcher for Malaysia Research Institute for Vocational Education and Training. And currently he's also being one of the instructor for the level 1 in TRIS Innovation Association Malaysia. And this is some of his research interest is covering like such as thinking skills, thinking tools, self-instructional modular approach, learning style, inventive problem solving skill. And also I also provide his email here. So for some participant, maybe you have some interest, same interest, research interest with him, probably you could contact him directly to his email. Okay, I think it's time for you, Dr. T.
Yeah, can I share my presentation now,
Okay,
Ibu Erita?
please. Yeah, please.
So can you see my presentation?
Yes. But there is like, oh yeah, I can see it very clearly.
Okay. So thank you very much, Ibu Erita, and I would like to express a very good morning to everyone. I'm T. Zekiong from the Faculty of Technical and Vocational Education, University Tun Hussein on Malaysia. And I would like to express my thanks to the organizer, and especially to Prof. Ganefri, the director of UMP, and Dr. Fahmi, and of course, Malaysia TRIS, my TRIS, on sharing the material for today's talk. Yeah. So today I'll be talking on solving inventive problem the TRIS way. So I believe that in Prof. Ganefri and Dr. Agus' keynote, they mentioned about these complex problem solving skills. Yeah. So based on Future of Jobs report, World Economic Forum, so in 2015, 5 years ago, and in 2020 and 10 years from now in 2030, they are, so someone asked me to remove the, let me see, I can hide the floating meeting console. Yeah. So I already hide it.
But so, like the small thing.
Yes.
I think it's
hide the floating. Okay, then I need to press. Yeah.
It's okay now.
Now it's better, right?
Better,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the past 5 years, now 2020 and in another 10 years from now, 2030, we can see that complex problem solving are consistently in demand as top future skills required, but unfortunately are lacking among the graduates. Okay, so I need to move to my next slide. Okay, so normally we will ask this question, what makes a problem complex or difficult to resolve? We should have the opposite thinking by asking what makes a problem simple or easy to resolve. So in TRIS, we refer complex problem as inventive problem and simple problem as normal problem. So let me introduce to everyone what is TRIS. TRIS is the Russian acronym, Theory of Inventive Problem Solving. So what does inventive mean in TRIS? What is an inventive problem? and what is a normal problem. So we are looking at normal versus inventive problem. So I will explain what are the differences between normal and inventive problem by using this example table. We want to put 1000 kg load on the table, but unfortunately the table collapsed. Why? After identifying the root cause of the problem, legs not strong enough because it was made from plastic. So how to solve this problem? So normally we'll just change the plastic legs to metal legs. So we consider the problem solved and we say this is a normal problem. But what happens if we come across a situation that we need to move the table? We need to carry the table. Now the table becomes very heavy. So it becomes an inventive problem. And inventive problems is a problem that has side effect and contradiction. So previously, we only need one person to carry or to move the table. Now we need 6 people to carry the table. Without applying trees to solve this inventive problem, normally we'll just use a compromise strategy. So what we do is vary metal leg diameter and reduce the head count. So previously we used the 20 centimeter diameter metal leg. Now we reduce it to 5 centimeter. So now the table still can't support 1000 kg load, reduce from 6 people to 4 people that is able to carry or to move the table. Again, what happened if we raise the bar? So we double the capacity with half resources. Now, I wish to put 2000 kg load on the table with only 1 or 2 people to carry. So eventually the system breaks down. So how many potential solutions can you generate from this inventive problem? So I will keep this answer, I will keep the answer later. I will explain and expose the answer later. So I would like to talk a bit on the compromise curve. So compromise strategy has its limitation. So by looking at this graph, if we wish to have a very strong table in terms of strength, then unfortunately we'll have bad heavy weight. And in contrast, if we wish our table to be light, then we will have bad weak on the strength. So this compromise curve always gives us headache. So my question is, if we want to plot on this graph, where can we plot it? Where should we plot it for the ideal state? What is our ideal state? Okay, so let me show you the answer. Okay, the red star indicates the ideal state, that we want our table to be strong and at the same time to be light. So this is a contradiction, right? But trees is able to bring us there to overcome this type of inventive problem that has side effect and contradiction. So by resolving this contradiction, so we are looking at the statement that we call it engineering contradiction. So engineering contradiction statement has 3 main keywords. We have if, then we have then, and we have but. So if is referring to the solution suggested to overcome the problem, then refer to the parameter improved, but refers to the worsened parameter. So based on the previous example that I shared, so if table legs are made of metal, then strength of table improves, but weight of table worsen. So there is one improvement and one improving and one worsening. So one positive and one negative, it means there is a contradiction in this case. So how to resolve this type of problem? So trees is focused on solving inventive problem. And again, inventive problem is a problem with side effect and contradiction. So trees is able to bring us to the ideal state that eventually the product that we produce, in this case is the table, that we will eventually have a strong table and a light table at the same time. So that the table can be moved or carried by 1 person, not 4 and not 6, okay? So at the end, what we want to achieve is both we want it to be positive, okay? Positive on the strength and positive on the weight. This is another example of contradiction. So Sophia tries to fit an office setup in her room. As a designer, she needs a large tabletop for her work and also a place for her workstation. But placing a large table makes her room look smaller, okay? Her small room looks even smaller. So how can we help Sophia to overcome this, to solve this contradiction? So for the following slides, then you realize that trees is able to solve this type of contradiction. So innovation is risky. Why? Why I say that innovation is risky? So if you look at this graph, from 5,000 problems to 3,000 raw ideas, 300 ideas with 125 exploration, 9 productized with 4 major development, 1.7 launches, and only 1 success. It means that 5,000 problems to 1 success. Do we want this to happen? I think the answer is definitely no, right? We wish for 5,000 problems come with 5,000 success. So what is TRIZ? As I mentioned earlier, TRIZ is the Russian acronym for the theory of inventive problem solving. So it is a systematic problem solving method based on logic and data, not intuition or spontaneous creativity of individuals or group. And the founder of this TRIZ was founded by Genrich Altshuler, who worked as a patent engineer in Russian Navy. He found that ideas from engineers were of poor quality and they took a long time to innovate. He decided to develop a process to help them. Then he investigated patents to gain insight on the process of methodology. So TRIZ provides repeatability, predictability, and reliability due to its structure and algorithmic approach. It improves individuals or teams' ability to solve problems. So Altshuler and his colleagues filtered from 200,000 patents worldwide to only 40,000 patents which either solve contradictions or showed trends. Okay, there were 3 key discoveries. Number 1 is problems and solutions were repeated across industry and sciences. 40 inventive principles. Inventive principles are specific solutions for problems with contradiction were identified through this process. Number 2 is pattern of technical evolution were repeated across industry and sciences. There are 7 trends. And finally, number 3, we have the innovation use scientific effect outside the field of from where the original problem was found. I would like to share one example. Everybody knows that Christian Dior is very famous with their fragrance. So they have one contradiction in producing the fragrance. So surprisingly, the answer or the solutions are not from the fragrance industry itself, but came from kitchen. So in kitchen, we use the sponge to wash our dishes. So the answer is from sponge itself, yeah? So surprisingly, it shows that scientific effects can be used to solve problems in unique ways. So here are the 40 inventive principles. 40 inventive principles, we have number 1 is segmentation, then second is taking out, third is local quality, and till number 40, you have composite materials, okay? All these inventive principles are specific solution to inventive problems that have side effect and contradiction. So I would like to share few inventive principles. Number 1 is segmentation. Segmentation is all about dividing an object into independent parts, make an object sectional for easy assembly and disassembly, increase the degree of an object segmentation or fragmentation, and there is a transition to micro level. So the very famous example that apply, the product that apply this inventive principle segmentation is the camping tent. We want our camping tent to be big when we want to use it. But in contrast, we want our camping tent to be small when we want to keep it or when we want to carry it. So by applying this inventive principle segmentation, you can solve problems, for example, in furniture and Lego blocks. The second inventive principles, number 7, that I wish to share with everyone is nested doll. So nested doll is placing one object inside another, place each object in turn inside the other. So make one part pass through a cavity in the other. So the very famous product that apply this inventive principle nested doll is Matryoshka dolls. Same goes to stacking cups, tripod stand, luggage bags, and antenna of a car which can be retracted and extended. So as I promised earlier, I will expose the answer to the previous example on the table. If you still remember the table, we wish the strength to be improved, and at the same time, we want the table to be light, that only one person is able to carry or to move the table. So based on these 40 inventive principles, but of course, there are stages in trees. Basically, there are 4 stages. Number one, 4 phases. Number 1 is identification of the root cause of the problem. Second is modeling the problem. Number 3 is choosing a specific tool to solve the problem. Number 4 is modeling the specific solution. So when you go through all the phases, then eventually you will get these proposed or suggested inventive principles to solve inventive problems. So what are the inventive principles can be applied to solve this problem? Number 1 is segmentation. So we can break the table into smaller parts. For example, the tabletop and legs. The table still is very strong to carry or to support the heavy load, and at the same time, we only need one person to move the table because the table has been segmented into smaller parts. Second inventive principles that we can apply to solve this contradiction is number 8, that is anti-weight. So we can string up or use pulley to move the table. The third inventive principles that we can use to overcome this problem is number 15, dynamization. So we can use wheel or trolley to move the table. Following by number 4, the 40th inventive principle, composite material. We can replace the metal legs with composite legs. As everybody knows that composite material has a very unique characteristics. It is strong and at the same time it's very light. And lastly, we have number 31 inventive principles, porous material. Instead of using a solid metal leg, we can use hollow metal legs. So all these 5 inventive principles are able to solve the side effect and contradiction of the inventive problems. So here I'm showing you the 3 technology trends, the second key discovery by the group. So trends of engineering system evolution, so TESE. We have 9 trends. So from increasing ideality to transition to the super system, increasing completeness of system components, increasing degree of trimming, optimization flow, uneven development of system components to increasing coordination, elimination of human involvement, increasing controllability, and increasing dynamization. All these trends are able to enable us to identify the future products innovation. So I'm not going to show everything, all these trends to all of you. I'm going to show only one, that is trend of increasing dynamization. So we are looking at substance dynamization. So from monolithic system to system with parameter, shifted parameters, then to one joint system, and then multi-joint system to field, multi-joint system to elastic system, then powder system, liquid system, gaseous system, and finally we have the field system. For example, your product now it's at stage 3, one joint system. So you can become innovative. You can predict and identify your product innovation. So you might need to think of how to produce your product, to change your product to multi-joint, or to elastic, or to gaseous, and or to field system. So one good example on these trends of increasing dynamization is the toothbrush handles. So from monolithic handle, change to handle with shifted parameters, then to one joint handle, to elastic, to liquid handle, and finally we have the field-based handle. So we have moved to the innovation, use scientific effects outside the field from where the original problem was found. So case number 1 is bell pepper. So how can we remove the core, the stem, and the seeds? Okay, so how would you remove the core from a bell pepper? So normally we'll use a knife to cut and remove the seeds and the stem from the bell pepper. But how would you remove the core from millions of bell pepper from the perspective of industry? So I would like you to take 30 seconds to think about this and share your ideas in chat box. Okay, so is that possible? So take 30 seconds to think about this and share your ideas in chat box. So how would you remove the core from millions of bell peppers? I can't see any answers coming in, but no problem. Okay, maybe the question is quite hard. No problem. I will explain the answer. The answer is the patent was made in 1945. Okay, 1945. This patent for processing bell peppers. What we do is we force the air inside of the bell peppers and suddenly reduce the pressure. So seeds and stems separate from bell pepper body. So the generic solution from this pattern is slowly raise pressure and suddenly reduce it. So we move to the second case, cedar nuts. How can we remove the shell from a cedar nuts? Same question. How would you remove the shells from millions of cedar nuts? Okay, without wasting time, okay, let's straight away go to the answer. So the answer is the patent was made in 1950, 5 years later, on removing the shell of cedar nuts. So under high pressure, water is forced inside the cedar nuts shells. When the pressure is suddenly reduced, the shells break away. Same, the generic solution from this pattern is slowly raise pressure and suddenly reduce it. So we come to the third and final case, diamond. Everyone loves diamond. How to remove it from rock? Okay, so after 27 years, in 1972, a patent was made on breaking artificial diamonds. Diamonds are placed into a pressure chamber. High pressure forces air into micro fractures. Releasing the pressure suddenly breaks the diamond into crystal. If you realize that the same solution principle was applied in the year 1945 for bell pepper, 5 years later in 1950 for cedar nuts, and 27 years later for artificial diamond. Okay, it shows that innovations use scientific effects outside the field from where the original problems was found. Okay, so without knowledge on this, it's very hard for us to solve problem. But trees is able to equip us with all this knowledge. So why trees? Why you should go for trees? Basically, there are two problem solving methods. Number one is trial and error approach, and the second one is structured and systematic approach. So everybody knows who is Thomas Alva Edison, right? So he used the trial and error approaches as he had resources. Just imagine they spent 40,000 USD performing 1,200 experiments with 5,000 resources. So Edison has the resources, but everyone else should use the structured and systematic approach due to little or no resources at all. Okay, so we should move to structured and systematic problem-solving approach to increase the efficiency and speed of innovation, never to do trial and error. Okay. So the usual ways to solve problem includes trial and error approach, which may not get you the solution but leads you elsewhere. More structured approaches including such as brainstorming, trigger approach checklist, morphological, divergently bring you to the solution. But trees provide very structured methodologies through various tools such as function analysis, cause and effect change analysis, trimming, S-curve, and etc. which accelerate time to problem solving and solution innovation. So here are some of the international companies that apply trees at their company. So from automotive to aerospace to consumer goods, electricity, electronics, medical technology, petroleum, optics and telecoms, and more. So these are the big names that apply trees in their research and development center. So here are some of the proliferation on trees. Okay. So application of inventive principles. So it does not only can be applied in engineering or product, okay? It can be applied in daily life or to human as well. So we are looking on a case that how would you get more donors, okay? On topic organ donation. How would you get more donors? So in Malaysia, we only have about 20%, 20% of Malaysians are the organ donors. So how would you get more donors? In contrast, okay, Singapore has about 80 to 90% of their citizens are organ donors. So how did Singapore make it? Actually, they just apply inventive principles number 30, the other way round. So how could this happen? Malaysia used the sign-in approach. If you wish to become an organ donor, you need to sign in. But Singapore used inventive principles number 13, the other way round. So those Singaporeans do not wish to become organ donor, they sign out. They use the other way around, sign out, not sign in. So therefore, Singapore has a very high percentage of organ donors. Okay. So trees case study. So using engineering contradiction. So there are many tools in trees can be used. Engineering contradiction is one of the more commonly used. So before I explain detail on this case, I would like to give you a brief scenario on the manufacturers. So this manufacturer is having trouble because each time when they want to produce different sizes of package, they need to change the shuttle because each shuttle only provides certain size of package. So to put it, the situation, to analyze the situation and put it in the engineering contradiction statement, if you all can still remember, there are three keywords that I have highlighted in different color, so and bold. So if, then, and but. So to put it in the engineering contradiction statement, so if the shape of the cavity is able to cater for a particular package size, meaning different sizes, okay? So for example, like small and medium and large, okay? Then it is able to handle the package. This is the improved parameter, but low flexibility and versatility when shuttle needs to be changed due to change in package sizes. So but refer to the worsening parameter. So there is a conflict or contradiction here. You have one positive and one negative, okay? So the identified improving parameter is shape, and the worsening parameter can be ease of manufacturing or adaptability. Again, by using one of the tool in trees, in phase 3, okay, choose a specific tool to solve the problem. Now we are using matrix of contradiction. So by referring to this matrix of contradiction, the suggested inventive principles are, if we pair shape with ease of manufacturing, the principles suggested are number 1, segmentation, 32, color change, number 17 is another dimension, and number 28 is mechanical substitution. If we pair the improving parameter and worsening parameter between shape and adaptability, then the proposed or suggested inventive principles are number 1, segmentation, 15, dynamization, and lastly, 29, pneumatics. I'm not going to expose all these inventive principles to solve this contradiction. I'm going to use only one example, that is number 17, another dimension to solve this contradiction. Okay, so looking on the left side photo, you have the original shuttle that only cater one size each time. So whenever the manufacturer wish to produce different sizes of package, they need to change the shuttle. So it's very troublesome. Whenever they want to produce different sizes, they need to change the shuttle. Okay, so on the right side photo, you can see that there is a new shuttle produced. Okay, so if you look carefully, there is a multi-story arrangement. Okay, on the lower part, at the bottom, we have the smaller size package, 37.5 mm, and on the in the middle, we have 40 mm package, and on the top, we have 42.5 mm package. So by applying this another dimension, inventive principles, to this inventive problem, so by using a multi-story arrangement of objects instead of a single story arrangement, we solve the problem easily. Okay, on the left side is the original one, on the right side is the new design shuttle that solve the contradiction. Now I'm showing you the trees tools and applications. So there are so many tools and applications that you can learn from trees. For example, on model of problem, how to define problem and root cause identification. So this is very crucial. So we have 8 tools. For model of solution, how to generate solution, we have 12 tools. Forecasting, developing new product and analyze market, we have 10 tools. And for people, meaning that trees is not only capable to solve problems in industry or in engineering sectors, it also cross to people. We can solve people issues by using trees. So there are 4 tools that we can apply. And lastly, we have the solution robustness, from failure anticipation analysis to super effect analysis. So here are some rough idea on what tools that you will learn for each level. From level 1, you will be introduced to function analysis to invent for 40 inventive principles. So level 2, you will learn 4 tools. Level 3, you will learn about 15 tools. Okay, so I'm sharing with you the pathway in trees. On the left side in blue color is the practitioner pathway. We have 5 levels from level 1 to level 5. So when you reach level 3, you are still practitioner. So when you reach level 4, you are expert already. And when you reach level 5, you are considered master in practitioner. So on the right side, you have the red color. It's the instructor pathway. We only have 3 levels from level 1 to level 3. Okay, so these are the pathway. So each level that you will learn different tools. So before I end my presentation, I would like to share a very famous quote by Heinrich Altschuler. You may wait for 100 years for enlightenment, or you may solve the problem in 15 minutes using these principles. So hereby I thank you for your attention, and I pass back to Ibu Erita. Hereby thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. T, for your presentation about the solving inventive problem the trees way. It is one of the systematic problem-solving method based on the logic and the data. And also, Dr. T has shown us about some his work by implementing of the trees way. Thank you very much, Dr. T. Actually, we already have some question as well related to your presentation, Dr. T, but I think it's better maybe to ask those questions in the end of this presentation after the 5th keynote speaker presenting. Okay, thank you very much, Dr. T. Bapak Agus?
Bu Erika.
Is that okay maybe for you to stay until the end of the presentation from all the keynote speaker?
Yeah, I'm waiting.
Or you have another agenda?
No, I'm waiting.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time, Bapak Agus. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome our 5th keynote speaker for this presentation, for this conference today, and this probably will be the last keynote speaker for today. Dr. Asnul Dahar.
Ya.
Dr.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. How are you, Dr. Asnul, finally?
Yeah, fine. Thank you.
Yeah. So, Dr. Asnul, are you ready maybe to deliver your presentation for today's conference, Dr. Asnul?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Okay.
No problem.
Okay. Before we start the presentation from Dr. Asnul. I would like to show a little bit about his profile. This is the profile of Dr. Asnul Dahar bin Migat. Currently, he's working as a senior lecturer in Faculty of Technology and Informatics in University Technology Malaysia. And for his education background, he completed his bachelor degree in civil engineering in University Technology Malaysia. And for master degree, he completed in the field of vocational education in University Putra Malaysia. And for doctoral degree, he completed it in the field of technical and vocational education, UTM. And this is he also serving some positions as a member of Asian Academic Society for Vocational Education and Training. And then he also being a member of Malaysia Board of Technology and member of Malaysia Association and Technical and Vocational Education, and the member of International Vocational Education and Training Association. And these are his research interests, covering about the technical vocational education, program evaluation in TVET, and engineering education. Okay, please welcome Dr. Asnul Dahar Migat. The time is yours.
Yes, I have my slide first. Okay, can you see my slide?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Ibu Erita, as the moderator for this session. The Honorable, I'm not sure either Pak Rector here or not, Professor Jenefri, Rector of Universitas Negeri Padang, Honorable Vice Rector, Honorable Dean of Faculty Engineering, and Chairman of the Dr. Mukhadi, Chairman, Honorable keynote speakers, participant, presenter and participant of the 7th International Conference on Technical and Vocational Education and Training. I'm Asnul Dahar Migat from University Technology Malaysia. So my topic of my presentation today is sustainability in technical and vocational education. Okay, content of my presentation today, I try to explain and cover the first concept of sustainable development, sustainability, strategy, sustainable development for TVET, indicators sustainable for TVET, and then lastly is the conclusion. There are many definitions or concepts of technical and vocational education. The first one, the concept of sustainability is a part of the discourse of international discussion since 1980. Then sustainability is defined as a state that does not change or is preserved as it was originally. From DBP meaning Dewan Bahasa dan Pustaka Dictionary 2002. Then the Hakel 1996 development sustainability as various definitions that depend on the ideology, knowledge, value, and philosophies. Then Pavlova, Margarita Pavlova, from Russian, 2009. the term sustainability of development or sustainable development was various meaning and definition depending on organization. Then Morris 2004, Pitt and Lupin 2009, sustainability of development or sustainability is generally defined as in the Brundtland Commission in 1987, where Brundtland 1987 development that meet the need of the present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own need. Okay. Then Atkinson et al. 1997 and NME 2004, sustainable development is development that meet current need without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their need. And the last one, NME, sustainable of development contain three main dimensions, namely social, economic, and environmental aspect. These three components are independent with each. So you can see the concept of sustainable development from 2004 like this, economy. There are three aspects or three pillars, which the first one is economy, environmental, and social. Okay. The philosophy of vocational education is to improve the quality of life. Zakaria, 1998. Before this, we Pak Rector present. We prepare our students in vocational education for job, for work, as semi skilled workers or semi workers. Okay. So development or sustainability is to improve the quality of life, And Muhammad Jala, 2004, he said, education is the key to sustainable development, but technical vocational education and training is the master key to sustainable development. Okay. TVET teacher must be able to reflect in their practice the dimension of sustainable development in the economic dimension, ability of a system to produce goods and services on a continuing basis. For environmental dimension, ability of a system to maintain a stable resource base. I don't know why. Wait, give me a minute. Just my slide.
Yes, sure, Dr. Asnol.
Ini tak kemas. Saya kat laptop tu, dia tak kemas. Dia tak nampak slide dia. Laptop ya. Padam buat balik. Padam buat balik. Slide tu kan pecah tu. Tak nampak. Padam balik.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think there is a little bit problem occur in the side of the Dr. Asnol. We're still waiting for Dr. Asnol.
Okay, I'm sorry. So now I'm continuing my presentation. For TVET, teacher might be able to reflect in their practice the dimension of sustainable development. For social dimension, ability or system to achieve discriminal equity, educate provision of social services, including health and education, gender equity, and political accountability and participation. So, as we know, for sustainable development, we have one center in technical and vocational education and training in under UNIVOC, UNESCO, based at Bonn, Germany. There are 7 strategies how to our role contribution of TVET for sustainable development in interlinked strategies. For as in the screen, the first one is advocacy and vision building. Second, support for the review and development of national TVET policies. Number third, guideline for planning and implementation. Number 4, capacity building and training program. Number 5, learning support material, resources and equipment. Number 6, networking and partnership in TVET. And the last one, number 7, ongoing monitoring, evaluation, and research. There are strategies from UNIVOC UNESCO 2004. Okay. Okay. So I try to share with you all about what is the TVET sustainability indicator that I found through my research in Malaysia. Then there is the objective of the research is to conduct study to find or recommend the comprehensive indicators of sustainability in order to attract student interest to enroll and explore related field for the well-being of their life and economic development of the country. The Delphi study was used to identify the important and indicators of TVET, sustainability for TVET. So from the analysis where I use AMOS analysis moment of structure, I got this fit model, CFA, run CFA, TVET sustainability measurement model. There are 13 indicators and 48 items to make it the model fit as the TVET sustainability measurement model, what we call. Okay, confirmatory factor analysis or CIA to verify TVET sustainability measurement model on indicator, latent factor, and item observation factor identified as problematic were excluded in order to obtain a better matching index in second order measurement. The final measurement as higher level of compatibility where the requirement for the model fit or not is follow the indicator like CMINDF must be 1.826, RAMC 0.052, CFI 0.92, TLI 0.916. Total of the 13 indicators and 40 items form TVET sustainability measurement model, where the representation, the study of 312 TVET teachers throughout the peninsula of Malaysia, who all the teacher teach secondary level in the technical vocational education subject in secondary level. Okay. So 13 indicator as below, TVET sensitivity. The first one is articulation, articulation, where issues and trend of TVET Southeast Asia Semi-Over Test 2008, 2007 and 8, and Jalani 2010, sensibility of a program need articulation. And Muhammad Nasir 2003, articulation is a new thing in TVET. The second one is the soft skill, where the factor loading value is 0.85. Two skill, KM ini kemahiran KK kemahiran komunikasi, KKM in bahasa Melayu kemahiran menyelesaikan masalah, problem solving. In the line with Ramli 1999, Jennifer 2004, then entrepreneurship, and KK kemahiran communication agreed by student, teacher, lecturer, and employers. While Majunda 2008, trend and issue in TVET of South Asia. Then number 3 is a skill-based training. Skill-based training. The Bond Declaration 2004 emphasized on skill and competencies. Ahmad Tajuddin 2009, country the reducing it dependent on external labor, and Ajar 2008 in line with the result of the study. Number 4 is the entrepreneurship. Factor loading is quite high, 0.84. The function of school, Zadatul Akmaliyah Habibah 2002, Sam and all 2008, suggests entrepreneurial aspect in TVET. Small 90. TVET teacher have competency in entrepreneurship. That's the important element to make sure TVET sustainability in TVET. Okay. Then creativity of teacher. Okay. Nation plan MP is Malaysia plan 2010 state preparation of human resource that as creativity, innovative, and competency. Then Teen et al. 2011 to ensure TVET teachers have creativity. Number 6 is student tendencies. Interest and student tendency is main factor in the success of TVET. Then student choose TVET course depending on their Okay, number 7, student innovation. The importance of innovation to fulfill the need of market and economy in the 21st century, year of 2010 as a national innovation year in our context in Malaysia. So number 8, industrial input. Malaysian Plan, 9 Malaysian Plan 2006, setting the human resource development is the main core related to TVET course. Industrial input help student. That industrial input or what we call collaboration with the industry is a very important thing. Maybe we can use the industry come to our college or universities to give talk for our students. Okay. Then the teaching methodology, the role of teacher in country development and the need to diversity teaching method, focus on enhance experience, site visit, fieldwork, and right now we know when we align with IR 4.0, so there are many teaching strategy we can apply, like the work-based learning, okay, collaboration learning, active learning, and so on. Then number 10 is internship, industry, cooperation. This is the one strategies from Univoc for TVET sustainability. Geneva Asia 2005, industry involvement in England since 2002 and has many benefits. And number 11, networking and partnership. Element networking and partnership, a necessity of networking and partnership with industry. Like in Malaysia, we can make collaboration with Polytechnic, Community College, or Pusat Giat Mara. SMT2 is the Technical Institute, and SMV is the Sekolah Menengah Vocational, where we now was upgraded as a vocational college for share expertise, tool, and facilities. Okay, number 12 is a technical capability. Okay, Pavlova 2009, the responsibility of teachers to improve technical skill to achieve the concept of education for sustainability of development. And the last one, indicator for sustainability for TVET facility in TVET is a staff development program. Okay, need to continue due the changing educational environment. Sani 2001, in line with Muhammad Nordin, training is a very training aspect for TVET teacher are important. Okay, that's 3 indicators for sustainability in TVET in our context in the level of secondary school, where offered a technical and vocational subject. So as my conclusion, some indicator of TVET sustainable development in the study that has been conducted, such as entrepreneurship, staff development program, technical skill of internship, teachers and industry cooperation, networking and industry partnership, in line with the sub-theme of 7 ICT-BT 2002. That's all my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Asnul Dahar, for your presentation about the sustainability in TVET. And well, ladies and gentlemen, finally, this is the end of the presentation from all the invited speakers in this conference today. And now we will begin the Q&A session. Actually, I already gathered and collected some questions from participants. I think it's better for me maybe to share it to all the keynote speakers. We start with the first question. This question is addressed to Dr. Agus Setiawan. Oke, Bapak. Ini dalam bahasa Indonesia ya, Bapak ya. Salah satu masalah terbesar SMK di Indonesia adalah kesenjangan antara SMK di Pulau Jawa dengan SMK di luar Pulau Jawa, terutama dalam hal penguasaan teknologi atau software terbaru. Bagaimana Bapak melihat cara terbaik dalam proses revitalisasi SMK ini untuk mengurangi kesenjangan tersebut dalam kaitannya dengan pendidikan guru SMK? Oke, Bapak silakan, Bapak.
Oke, thank you. Can I respond in bahasa?
Boleh, Bapak, silakan. Since most of our participants are from Indonesia and locally participants, so.
Ya, jadi itu sebetulnya kan masalah ketimpangan di Indonesia itu kan terjadi bukan hanya di aspek pendidikan, tapi di seluruh aspek ya, termasuk pendidikan. Dan ketika bicara pendidikan juga termasuk dalam bidang TVET gitu, dalam bidang pendidikan vokasi. Nah, ini agak susah jawaban ininya ya, jawaban pastinya karena itu memang persoalan besar. Ada pertimbangan di berbagai sisi. Hanya secara strategi memang ada piloting ya yang diupayakan untuk mewakili setiap daerah gitu. Jadi ada 219 SMK yang jadi piloting untuk revitalisasi dan itu sudah mempertimbangkan keberagaman daerah gitu. Jadi ada yang di Jawa, di luar Jawa itu semua terwakili. Itu strategi pertama. Kemudian strategi kedua juga karena Indonesia besar gitu, jadi diharapkan nanti yang SMK yang sudah direvitalisasi untuk 6 aspek tadi itu dapat menjadi semacam satelit gitu ya, SMK satelit untuk membina ya SMK di sekitarnya. Sehingga dalam waktu 5 tahun ya kira-kira bisa ribuan SMK revitalisasi gitu. Itu pendekatan yang digunakan seperti itu. Kemudian berbicara soal leveling itu juga akan disesuaikan gitu. Karena kan sekarang jurang mutunya terlalu lebar gitu. Sehingga ada yang lebih fokus ke penguatan dudinya, ada yang lebih fokus ke SDM-nya gitu. Jadi tidak harus seluruh 6 aspek revitalisasi itu secara simultan dilaksanakan, tapi bisa secara bertahap. Itu yang pada saat ini bisa dilakukan gitu.
Oke. Terima kasih Bapak Agus atas jawabannya. Mungkin ini kita langsung ke pertanyaan kedua ya Pak.
Yeah.
I think we go on to the second question. And the second question is still addressed to Dr. Agus Setiawan. In this pandemic situation, I think the process the process of education of TVET teachers is one of the most affected by the online learning system because most of their courses are practice-based courses. Do you think that this will hugely affect the quality of the TVET teacher graduates in 2 or 3 years to come? What can we do?
Yeah, in my point of view, actually, the use.
Ya, Dr. Agus, Bapak Agus, I think there is like, Dr. Agus ya, silahkan.
Okay. So in my opinion, actually, the use of online learning is not only because of pandemic. I think this is our future teaching and learning model because in the era of ICT, we have a good infrastructure to deliver the content by using online system. So but we have some challenges how to provide the quality content in our LMS system, for example, and how the teaching innovation to deliver the content. That's our challenge in the future. But for example, at the moment, we carry out we conduct the PPG by using online system, using LMS, GTK. And I think also in the next 2-3 years later also we'll use the same platform.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Agus Setiawan. I think that's all the question that we have from the participant that addressed to you. Thank you very much, Dr. Agus. We will go to the next question. We will go to the next question, and this question is for Dr. T. Dr. T?
Yes.
Yes. One of the Inventive Principles, what model of solution you can explain about the thermal expansion from the application? This is from Mr. Fadlin. Okay,
Okay, my response to this question is, if we look at the Inventive Principles number 37, it's thermal expansion. So what we do is we use the thermal expansion or contraction of material. If the thermal expansion is being used, then we need to use multiple materials with different coefficient of thermal expansion. Okay, so there are few products that apply these inventive principles, such as the bimetallic strip sensor, and we have the thermostat, and we have the circuit breaker. Okay, so basically it's about using the thermal expansion, or if the thermal expansion is already being used, then you need to use multiple materials that with different coefficient of thermal expansion. I think that's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. T. I hope that your answer can satisfy Mr. Fadlin, or maybe if Mr. Fadlin want to know more about related to what.
Definitely, you can ask the participant to contact me straight away.
To contact you directly. Yeah. Okay. The next question still for you, Dr. T. Okay, if treats is a systematic problem-solving method based on logic and data, why is that perception mapping become one of the tool of treats? Could you briefly explain the role of perception mapping in the whole treat process?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. I believe this participant has a very strong fundamental in trees. Then if we look back on the trees tools and application, we realize that this tool, perception mapping, is under people that we solve people issues. Basically, there are 4 tools under this construct. So number 1 is function analysis. The second is perception mapping. So based on my understanding, what is perception mapping, that it is a tool to analyze, okay, it's an analysis of brainstorming or survey result. So multiple inputs from the brainstorming or the survey, so we consider as the perceptions, are collected from different people. So as I mentioned earlier, that trees is not only can be applied in engineering or technical field, it can be also applied in human with people. So after we collect it from different people in order to determine the root cause. So the main purpose of performing this perception mapping is to identify the root cause of the problem. So systematical logical approach is used for graphical analysis. So eventually you will draw a diagram, okay, to see the connection between the components. So if I'm not mistaken, there are stages, okay, in this perception mapping, that we start recording as many as perception as we can from the client, the customer, or the people. Then we will ask question for each perception recorded. Then we will identify a pair or pairs of perception representing any statement that are contradictory or in conflict with one another. So number 4 is we draw the perception mapping diagram, then followed by understanding the resulting perception map. So to answer the question is basically is a tool to identify the root cause of the problem that happened in people, not in engineering or in substance, in products, okay? I hope that I answer your question. But if you are not satisfied with this question, definitely you can contact me, or straight away you can ask my trees, okay? Thank you so much for that question.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. T. Okay, that's all the question that addressed from participant to for Dr. T. And we move to the next question for Dr. Asnul Dahar. Dr. Asnul Dahar?
Yeah.
Here is the some question from participants. I think it's better for me to share it to you. Okay. Can you see Dr. Asnul?
Okay.
The first question is, with regard to attracting students' interest to enroll the vocational education, could you share with us your institution's experience? What actions do you take or plan to attract students' interest?
the interact. So I think I try to answer this question through in bahasa, right?
Ya, boleh.
Okay, to interact
Okay.
student to come ataupun menarik minat pelajar untuk mengambil bidang vokasi ni, ya. Ya, kita tahu selama ni, kalau sebelum-sebelum ni kita tahu 80-an, 90-an, pendidikan vokasi ini masih dianggap sebagai kelas ketiga. Okey. Biasanya pelajar-pelajar yang tidak cemerlang akademiknya, yang biasanya dijuruskan oleh parent masing-masing, pergilah ambil vocational education ini, vokasi. Betul tak? Tapi sekarang ni kalau kita tengok di sekitar tahun 2000 ke atas ni, vocational education ni dalam konteks kalau saya nak share di Malaysia telah mendapat tempat lah. Sebab inisiatif our Ministry of Education, they upgrade vocational school to college vocational, for example. So college vocational itu mengeluarkan juga diploma, selain daripada diploma vocational Malaysia, mereka juga mendapat vocational diploma kemahiran Malaysia. So diploma kemahiran Malaysia ni juga boleh digunakan sebagai value added to our student untuk dia punya job masa depan. Itu value added. Jadi ini sebagai orang kata sebagai sistem ataupun penambahbaikan sistem vocational education in Malaysia tu untuk menarik lebih ramai lagi pelajar-pelajar menjurusi bidang vokasi. Bidang vokasi ni sangat penting, ya, sebab fokus vokasi ini untuk nak fulfillkan ataupun nak mengisi ruang-ruang pekerja mahir dan separuh mahir dalam negara ini. Jadi kepada penyediaan modal insan. Jadi itu satu yang saya boleh tunjuk satu contoh lah, di mana program kami bukan saja di kolej vocational, di sekolah menengah akademik ataupun SMK ni, SMK kejuruan kan, maksudnya kita ada value added, maksudnya ada special certificate daripada Department of Skill Development, ada Ministry of Human Resource. Okay, itu yang boleh saya share sikit lah, yang kita boleh meramaikan lagi pelajar untuk menjurus kepada bidang vokasi ini.
Vocational. Oh ya, oke. Oke, terima kasih Dr. Asnul. And we move to the next question. Okay, next question. Okay. I bet this is the last question, I think, for our Q&A session for today's conference from Anissa, and the question is still addressed to Dr. Asnul Dahar. Do you think we can teach creativity to vocational teachers, or should we apply creative criteria from the very beginning when we recruit the teachers?
Ya, saya itulah maksud dari segi kreativiti. Kalau hasil daripada pembentangan saya tadi, di mana presentasi itu telah menunjukkan salah satu indikator untuk sustainability dalam TVET ini ialah kreativiti guru, ya? Dosen punya kreativiti ataupun segala pengajar yang terlibat dalam bidang technical vocational education. So kalau tanya saya personally lah, maybe kreativiti guru ni sepatutnya semasa kita mahu mengambil calon ataupun our potential punya calon untuk pergi ke bidang perguruan ini, salah satu elemen ataupun bidang ataupun kita punya kriteria pemilihan kreativiti ini perlu kita jalankan supaya tidak supaya unsur-unsur ataupun orang kata ciri-ciri itu ada pada seorang guru supaya dia boleh menjadi satu pengajar, dosen ke whatever lecturer yang baguslah. Sebab dalam usaha kita nak menjadi seorang technical vocational teacher, educator ni, salah satu ciri dan telah pun dibuktikan oleh research itu tadi kan, menunjukkan kreativiti itu sangat penting. Jadi pada saya, proses pemilihan awal itu kalau boleh ada dia punya kriteria, ada dia punya inventory, ada pun dia punya special punya test, lagi bagus lah. Make sure our teacher tu betul-betul kita pilih tu memang perkebolehan untuk nak create sesuatu, untuk nak menjayakan kita punya sistem vocational education.
So it's kind of like additional value ya untuk teacher kalau seandainya mereka bisa mengembangkan kreativitas sejak ya.
Ya, nah, inovasi kreativiti tidak boleh lari kan. Maksudnya inovasi tidak boleh lari sebab kita nak menghasilkan satu produk. So, produk, peluang pekerjaan, skill yang berkaitan dan sebagainya lah. Okay.
Nah, okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Asnul Dahar, for the great answer. Yeah, this is, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the keynote speech for today's conference. I would like to thank you once again to all the keynote speaker who still join with us until the end of this keynote speech session. Dr. T, terima kasih banyak. Thank you very much, Dr. T, for your
terima kasih banyak ya Ibu Erita dan juga kepada semua sekretariat, and thank you very much.
I heard that there will be another event for you next week, right?
Yes.
Still in UMP. Okay. Yes. See you again next week, Dr. T. And also, I would like to thank you very much to the participation of Dr. Agus Setiawan. Terima kasih banyak loh Bapak.
Thank you Bu.
Ya, terima kasih banyak Bapak.
Pak Dekan, Bapak Ibu semua.
Terima kasih banyak Bapak sudah dari awal sampai akhir. Terima kasih banyak Bapak atas waktunya. And also I would like to say thank you to Dr. Asnul Dahar. Dr. Asnul Dahar.
Iya, sama. Saya pun sama.
Ya, terima kasih
banyak. Minta maaf banyak kalau ada kurangnya. Untuk makluman saya hanya dapat notisnya 3 hari sebelum.
I would like to apologize for the miscommunication.
Walaupun Pak Syaril sudah lama hubungi saya, tapi saya masih menunggu jadi ke tidak.
Oh ya.
Jadi harap apa yang saya sampaikan itu bolehlah di-share, dimanfaatkanlah kepada khususnya kepada mahasiswa di sana yang menjadi partisipan. Terima kasih juga kepada Pak Rektor lah Jenefri. Terima kasih.
Iya. Presentasinya sangat bagus sekali tadi, Dr. Asnul. We really appreciate it for making it. Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, once more time, I would like to say thank you to all the keynote speaker, Dr. T, Bapak Agus, dan juga Dr. Asnul.
Terima kasih Pak Agus. Thank you very much, Mr. T. Thank you very much.
Okay, we take the picture.
Okay.
Okay, Bapak. Ini harus join semua. Dr. Asnul belum join di ini. Sudah ya? Oke.
Sudah.
Ya, tidak bisa menginclude semua partisipan ini sepertinya. Yang ada saja ya, Pak ya. Oke. 1, 2, please look at to the camera. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Let me move it first. And the another one, as usual, freestyle. Freestyle, Dr. T, Bapak Agus juga, Dr. Asnul. Oke. 1, 2, 3. Oke, terima kasih banyak. Thank you very much.
Terima kasih banyak. Thank you very much,
Dr. T. Terima kasih banyak, Bapak Agus, Dr. Asnul. We looking forward maybe for the other events in the future.
Yes. Insyaallah. Terima kasih.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I will see you next week again, Dr. T, for your presentation next week.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, okay. Okay, thank you very much, Dr. T. Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Asnul. Terima kasih banyak, Bapak Agus.
Terima kasih.
Okay. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, after the break time, there will be parallel session for all participants who have submitted their paper to present their works. And the host will start to divide and place you into 3 rooms. And the parallel session will be carried out directly by our other moderators, Bu Risma Abdeni, Bu Unung Ferawardina, and Bu Erika. Jadi kepada partisipan nanti mohon diubah namanya sesuai dengan room yang telah dibagi, yang berdasarkan list yang Bapak Ibu dapatkan. Nanti admin kita nanti akan membagi Bapak Ibu sekalian berdasarkan room yang ada sesuai dengan list yang sudah kami berikan. Oke. Bagaimana Pak Muklidi? Bisa kita akhiri?
Ya, kita tutup bagi partisipan dan bagi author, penulis nanti harap untuk masuk lagi di room yang sama dengan link yang sama dan kemudian berdasarkan pembagian room yang sudah ditetapkan.
Oke.
Terima kasih.
Terima
Sampai
kasih
jumpa.
banyak. Terima kasih banyak Pak Agus. Sampai ketemu lagi Pak Agus.
Terima kasih Bu.
Ya.
Terima kasih Pak Agus.
Ya.
Terima
Pak
kasih.
Dekan. Pak Dekan.
Pak Dekan ada.
Nanti closing speech-nya Bapak ya?
Ya.
Ya.
Oke.
Oke Pak Dekan. Sampai ketemu lagi nanti Pak Dekan di acara closing speech-nya Pak Dekan. Nanti bakal ada ini Pak, pengumuman best presenter seperti biasa. Nanti akan diumumkan langsung oleh Bapak. Ya. Ya, oke Pak. Ya Pak. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.